This episode of Speakers of Eidolon is made possible by our generous patrons. Special thanks to our supreme and master speakers, Omeji Cat Comet, Erisu Yamakawa, Circuit Barrakill, Remy Asalia, Arcadia Lunashine, Alex Franco AV, Casey Schaefer, Azuta Starbreeze, Cletus Oreo, Nina Grimstarter, Nat Clay, Lily Black, AJ Brainswordson, Bob CC, Mikta Rappentau, Faris Gentoru, Saba Chakwatol, Edwin, Umbral Wind, Quick Levin, Winebow Brood, Pamela Isley, Camille Grino, Face on Masher, Elenriel Maximus, Code Red No, Mira Miri, Bay Barbale, Suno Chicano, Celesto Notral, Lazy Boy, A Bag of Dragonite, Luke Osborne, Pandaloo Storm Arrow, Tex, and Yowie Wowie. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/speakersxiv. Thank you.
This is Speakers of Eidolon.
Good evening, Aorcians. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon episode 252. I'm Lukiel Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Georgi Wiston and Rollo Des. Hello, everyone. It is June 26th, 2021, and we have some stuff to discuss today. A Yoshi-P interview by PcGamesN, and, of course, patch 5.57, which was released last week, Tuesday. We will look through the patch notes and discuss what we got this patch, because that was kind of a big question mark last week for us, because it was announced with no explanation as to what it contained. It contained some good stuff. We'll also be reading MogMail. Remember to send us MogMail at speakersxiv.com/MogMail, and stay tuned for the post-show. If you're watching live, we'll be answering questions from the Syndicate as usual. Channel updates, 1.0 stream for patrons is on Tuesday, so make sure you catch that. We'll be focusing on Kurthus. All right, that is it for the introductions. Let's jump into recent events. Right, well, we should probably discuss the Final Fantasy XIV and Twitch collaborative campaign.
We did it. We're famous.
Well, hold on now. I'm just going to read the post and then we can discuss it. This is posted on the Lodestone. We are pleased to announce a new campaign in collaboration with Twitch, where players will be able to get their hands on some cool rewards by making use of the gift subscription service on select channels. From today at 11 a.m. PDT until August 24th, support your favorite content creators and you can receive deluxe Heavensward crackers and the Fat Black Chocobo mount. Please note that the campaign will only begin on Thursday, June 24th at 11 p.m. Yeah, that was a thing. We'll get to that. Any
11
subscriptions... 11 a.m. Any subscriptions gifted before the above start time will not be counted towards the campaign. So here's how you participate. You log into your Twitch account. You visit the Twitch channel. And while the channel is streaming Final Fantasy XIV online, like the category, gift 1 or a cumulative of 4 subscriptions to earn rewards. Subscriptions gifted anonymously will not count towards the campaign. So make sure you do that with your Twitch account name.
Who's on this list?
Well, was a bit of a surprise. We're not the kind of channel that I'd expect would appear on that list. I don't know how we'll discuss this, because there's, it's a thing. It has. I will say there's a lot of controversy around this. Some of it I think is bullshit. Other things I think is. I mean, some of it is bullshit, but other things I think is valid. There's some people that definitely should have been on there that aren't there, but
Yeah.
Fairly
big list, but
yeah, it's a big list, and I will give them credits for actually prioritizing non-English speakers as well. There's German, Spanish, Finnish.
The single Finn. Shout out to
hello,
Suvik.
Terve. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. So that's cool. We are here. On the list. I don't know what else there is to say. It's the first time we've been like I don't want to say recognized. It's more like it's the first time we're like considered something.
Yeah, like publicly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have been acknowledged.
Yeah.
You have been perceived.
They've seen all the pee-pee poo-poo talk we do. So sad. I'm sorry to the intern that had to sit through our streams to figure out if we were eligible. I'm so sorry. Also,
I just want to say that so on the day this happened, I said, all right, we're in. I just made that decision, and I'm not someone who makes decisions that quickly, but I thought, fuck it, I am so negative usually when there's stuff like this, because I always consider it like it's either spam or this isn't real, and then I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll do it, and then I'm like, have I been scammed? Is this a scam? So I thought, I'm not going to tell the others yet, and I just kept putting it off because I thought, if I just keep putting it off, maybe it didn't happen. and then Thursday rolls along, and I'm like, it was real. So there you go.
We just found out.
Yeah, you found out when it appeared on the lodestone. Technically, that's when
we did.
That's kind of when I found out as well, because I had like sort of resigned to the idea that this wasn't actually real. So there you go. Get your chocobo mounts, and yeah, I don't know if there's any point in talking about the other stuff. You've already read through that. I think, like I said, some of it is warranted, others is not. Like, for instance, there's a lot of small streamers in there. I would not consider us a large channel, but we're on there. We're not even like we are like the most we are so isolated from the greater 14 community. Like, we are, and we've always been in like this little bubble, the speakers bubble. So yeah, there you go. Okay. So that's that. You can get the event lasts until August. So if you can't get it now, you can always, you have 2 months to get one.
Doesn't have to be us. Could be anyone else on that list too.
Do it with
and
whoever
if you do it in a month's time, people's gifted subs will have run out.
Yes.
So they can accept new ones.
Yeah. Next up. Well, hasn't this taken a turn? The Evilesian story. When we reviewed Zadnor and the Save the Queen story, we found it strange that we had these field notes that seemed to imply that the story had been finished off camera. But then we also found other parts that sort of seemed to imply that it would continue, that this was just setting up for another chapter, right? So that's what we leaned back into that. We were like, okay, phew, there's going to be a continuation anyways. No, that's clearly not the case if we're to follow, to believe what Matsuno has been saying on Twitter. There's a Twitter thread where, we discussed this before we went live on air. I think most of these people in this thread are people from the speakers community. So hello.
We recognize those names.
Yes.
Thank you for generating content for us.
Thank you for doing that. But
sad
also
content too.
It's sad content. It's sad
Thank
content.
you.
Yes. So Valvedrix asked Matsuno, the Save the Queen story, or didn't ask, said, the Save the Queen story was incredible and easily my favorite side story in Shadowbringers. I hope it continues in the future, and thank you for writing it. Matsuno then unexpectedly replies, thank you for your feedback. Unfortunately, this side story is over. See you in another game.
Which Mailer found humorous because what was his last game?
What was his last game?
Let's
I
look.
don't
You
know.
know what? Let's
Oh
look
god,
it up
yeah,
right
what
now.
was his last game?
Exactly, that's the point.
Oh god, Matsuno.
Don't believe Matsuno's lies.
Unsung Story?
Sure.
Which is
Oh,
from
is
when?
that the gacha game? Yeah, it's the gacha game. I think.
That's sad.
Not promising then. So a follow-up to that, Dr. Plato. Wait, you're not continuing with writing Final Fantasy XIV Evilise related stuff in the future? I figured you would be included with the future storytelling of 14's Dalmasca. Matsuno, I love how rough the answer is. Like, it's so like harsh. Unfortunately, that plan has disappeared. Thank you. 2 exclamation points.
2 exclamation points.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Actually, this is sadder. I just realized. Unsung Story is that Kickstarter game that is a fucking nightmare. He was going to be on it. It was like a tactics kind of game. And he was going to be on. He's like, but tactics RPGs are back, and it just fell apart. I think it's changed developers, and it's just
They weren't back.
it was. Terra Battle was his last release game, which that's the gacha game. In 2014, and it was not a good one.
Well, Asian Super Pack, also known as Grahatia Simp, replies, this sucks to hear. Honestly, playing through the Evilise related stuff in 14 made me go back and replay Final Fantasy Tactics and give 12 another shot. I'm glad I did because 12 is easily my top Final Fantasy games now. I absolutely love the world. I wish we could have seen more in 14. Yatsuno replies, I don't know the impression well outside Japan. There were pros and cons in Japan. Some people said it was good, but others said it was the worst. In any case, this story was completed because Bosnia was liberated. Thank you.
No, the Bosnia, thank you very much.
So, okay. The Bosnia was liberated.
Who bullied Matsuno? Who did this?
Why have you been mean to Matsuno?
They called him Warhead.
we did it out of love, though.
Yeah.
All right. For the most part, we liked.
We like the story.
Yeah.
It's better than Eureka's.
Yeah.
That's kind of a low bar, but
We definitely thought there were some baffling decisions in regards to how certain characters were translated into 14, but the story itself was very competently told.
Yeah, until we got the end told to us in field notes, which is so jarring and so I don't understand. It's like Matsuno had this like great plan for the story, and then they realized we don't have time to like tell this fucking story, Matsuno. And it's like, well, I want to tell it. Yeah. This is literally the last content of this story. We need to wrap up. It's like, field notes. So that's really sad.
Yeah. And like the Ivalice stuff was good too. Like the quest line, the raid series. Like Return of the Ivalice was really good. I super liked the story. I mean, it was very tactics heavy, kind of. If you're not a tactics, you might not get a lot from it. But it's still really good.
Yeah. Could it be like chat says, like, could it possibly be because Endwalker is supposed to like wrap up all storylines, so they just don't want this to like be a continuing thread into Endwalker? It's weird though, because I thought Endwalker was going to focus more on areas like these, like going forward, like post Endwalker. But he says, "See you in another game," which makes me feel like he's just done.
That sounds so sad.
With 14, yeah.
I have 2 theories on this. All right.
Okay.
So, theory one, and I don't know if this is true. I've not looked it up. This is just a guess, a hunch, a vibe check, even. Um, I think that maybe Ivalice games just aren't particularly popular in Japan. I don't know the numbers on how well 12 or Tactics did in Japan. Maybe they're more popular in the West. That's just a guess.
Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's why it wasn't received as well or something.
Possible.
But my second guess is that he will come back. They will continue the storyline after Endwalker. As in Endwalker's whatever, they're gonna focus on something else. You know, like we can't do Bosio right now. It just doesn't fit. Next expansion.
Yeah, maybe he's like hiding behind like that the expansion is another game. Maybe that's what he means. I don't know. It's Matsuno, so who knows?
The plan has disappeared is not encouraging.
No, it is not.
I'll hold out hope. I'll hold out.
I mean, yeah, there could be some hope in here. I think it's sad that if we're not getting anything else, that's a really sad way to end that storyline. All right. So that's the Matsuno drama. Next, IGN had a top 10 MMO list for 2021, and the only reason we're bringing it up is because 14 is number 1 on that list, and World of Warcraft is number 2. But it's also worth noting that almost all of those games are old as fudge. Like, the youngest game on that list is Elder Scrolls Online. There are games there that are like 10 years plus old. And it was such a perfect, like, representation of the MMO market right now. The state of like the MMO market.
An old man's game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
really is.
Wasn't DC Universe Online in there?
It was. And you asked,
See,
were like, in a told it to Georgi, he was like, wait, didn't they shut those servers off? Isn't that game dead? Yeah, 11 was on there. 11!
Oh.
The game's like fucking almost 20 years old. Yeah.
And so is WoW. WoW is older.
Yeah, so is WoW. So, yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, there you go. 14.
One of them, that Ultima game. What was that game that we looked
Ultima Online.
that website for?
Oh, yeah, that was.
Oh no, that's coming up later. We'll talk about that later, actually.
Oh yeah, we will. Yeah.
Maybe Riot's MMO will be the new hit kid on the street that's actually successful. So good luck to them.
There are a few MMOs in the works right now. So hey, this might change. Good luck. Good luck.
It's a tough market.
It sure is. Okay, so we're gonna look at some patch notes right now for 5.57. I mean, it's not very exciting.
Extensive.
No, but there's some stuff in here that's worth looking at. So patch 5.57 came out on Tuesday. This Tuesday. Here we are. Oh, let me do the old man thing again, so that everyone can see. Right, so they made the expected changes to Eden's Promise Savage. 2 treasure coffers will now always appear. Furthermore, the weekly restriction on rewards obtained from coffers have been removed. They've removed the weekly entrance restriction. You can just jump around wherever in Eden's Promise Savage. And the Echo is implemented. So it's the usual stuff. 10% added. Alliance Raid has got the Tower at Paradigm's Breach added to it, as expected. Now, here's some stuff with the Bosnian Southern Front. Field notes on Dionbu has been added to the possible rewards for completion of the skirmishes brought to heal and no camping allowed. Treasure chests that appear after freeing hostages during the critical engagement, the Battle of Castrum Lacus Litore, will now yield more forgotten fragments. And the amount of metal earned for completion of the critical engagement, the Battle of Castrum Lacus Litore, has been increased. So there you go.
Okay. So can we talk briefly about that field note update?
Mm.
A lot of people had been under the impression that these two skirmishes already dropped the Junbu field note. And a lot of people were farming them thinking that they might get them. I think there was a degree of like hearsay that spread the information that you could do those skirmishes and get this field note.
Oh.
So a lot of people were quite frustrated about this.
Mm.
Not to the same level, but it was similar to the people that were desynthesizing primal weapons and not getting what they wanted.
Oh, God.
And hey, hearsay has become real. So if you believe hard enough, it'll just happen.
True. Okay. The number of Bosnian clusters required in exchange for the following items from the Resistance Quartermaster has been reduced from 3 to 1. So that's Fragment of Clarity, Fragment of Contention, Finesse, Fortitude, and Divinity. So only 1 cluster now for those.
The buffs are coming.
This one. The number of time-worn artifacts received upon completing the Delubrum Reginae has been increased from 1 to 3. Time-worn artifacts can only be received when undertaking the quest A New Path of Resistance.
This is the most miserable.
Thank you.
It's between this and the Mark/Evilise phase of the relic.
Yeah.
For the most miserable step of the relic.
Yeah. That means you only need to do 5 runs of Delubrum Reginae, and we love that. We love to see it. So the field record entry of Fran has been adjusted. I don't know what exactly they've...
What'd they do?
Well,
Like,
okay.
Actually,
This will come back later.
Okay.
We will. This will be in known issues. We'll get to that.
Okay. Oh, I love known issues. The weekly limitation of Allegan Tomestones of Revelation have been increased from 450 to 900. Maximum store of 2,000 tomestones has not been changed. So usual stuff. This one is interesting. So in system, the Visit Another World server option has been added to the subcommand menu on the character selection screen, allowing players to log in on another world. Please consider this option when having difficulty logging into your home world or when it's overly congested. The following restrictions apply when using this option. A destination world cannot be selected when using this option. A world with available space will be chosen automatically. Players will log in near the Aetheryte of their starting city, and this feature is not available under certain conditions, such as after logging out while undertaking certain duties. So, I guess it's a way of getting people onto the game, even if it's like they're having high congestion. But I love the idea of like just ending up on a random ass server. Like,
take a pick.
So,
yeah,
we're gonna be.
You don't get the pick.
You don't.
And I've seen some spaghetti behind this in the sense that I've seen people on people test this who are already on low density servers. I can't remember which one it was, but it was someone that was on the equivalent of like Goblin.
Yeah.
And then they got thrown into it would be like you are on Goblin and you get thrown into a queue for Balmung.
Yeah.
I see. Love that.
They want to get you off the low pop server so everyone else can get onto your server.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Maybe this will be refined with time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice feature, I guess. They just need to, fix it a little.
It'll be very nice for the launch of Endwalker.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. All right, quest completion can now be confirmed via the character profile page on the Lodestone. The character profile page will now list completed quests, including their date of completion. That's nice, so you can like keep track out of the game. The quest history for all characters, including date of completion, will be saved to the Lodestone beginning with the release of patch 5.5.
Does that mean that any previous quests will not have that information?
I would assume so, because it probably doesn't have that information stored anywhere. So,
but that's interesting because XIVDB 14DB actually stored that information.
True. That's
back
true.
when it existed. Well, it still exists, but back when it was good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. That's cool. Also, the quest cannot be seen by other users. That makes sense. Here's some resolved issues. Is this where we get Fran, or is that under known?
No, that's in known issues.
So they haven't actually fixed it. Okay. Anything worth mentioning here? Oh, wow,
No,
this
not
one's
really.
quite interesting. An issue wherein music and sound effects did not play when entering or undertaking certain duties on the PlayStation 5. Wonder if that has something to do with the loading stuff. Possibly. All right, known issues. An issue wherein text in the field record entry of Fran area has not been adjusted.
The issue is that we didn't fix it. That was the issue.
That is so good. What
What
the fuck?
is it? I have to look it up now.
They're like top of the notes. We have a Fran Ariad's field notes have been adjusted. Known issues. An issue where Fran Ariad's field record entry has not been adjusted, by the way. Oh.
I suspect what this means is that likely in the code they may have written the correct information, but it didn't get pushed to the game.
Right.
That's this is the only way I can resolve how this is both an update and a known issue.
That's so funny. I love this part of the patch notes. I've said this before, but I love when there's shit like this in here. They're like, didn't fix it. All right. There you go. That is patch 5.57. Have you made any progress on your relics after this?
Yes, I am very close to finishing the 30-30 stage of the relic.
Yeah.
I have done all of the skirmish. I've got all the skirmish materials. I just need the ones from the critical engagements, which are more
right.
I can't force that.
Mm-hmm. Have you done anything
I have.
Rollo, with
What
the
about you?
relic? No.
Just don't care.
No, I know.
Sorry.
I didn't care.
This one is fun, Rollo.
I'll probably do some of it because it does seem like, oh, I can do this and not feel like blowing my brains out. You know?
Now that you can do Delubrum just 5 times, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Because you had to do it 15, Rollo. 15!
Mm-hmm.
That's madness.
I'd still prefer that over just some of the older relic grinds. Like looking at them, even buffed, I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, when they they increased the drops in Delubrum, I cared a little more. So I finished that immediately, that step.
Definitely, because before that happened, you said, I don't care anymore.
I didn't
so
care.
Your degree of care has definitely increased.
Degree of care has gone up because I was like, there's no way I'm not doing this 15 times. It's just not happening. And I thank God it didn't. So 5 runs, that's all you need. Right, that's it for recent events. Interesting patch. Interesting patch. That's not how I would describe 5.57. Go on.
Yes, Rollo?
Still no DC visit, but
no, that's
That's
next.
5.58.
That's
They've already
5.58,
said that.
Rollo. Yeah.
Oh, they did. Oh,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was...
Yeah. So one thing that they didn't do that I thought they would, I assume it will come on 5.58, is allow you to buy the upgrade material for the tome weapon with coins.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's probably true. Okay, that's it for recent events. Let's jump into this interview by PcGamesN. Headline: Yoshi-P. Without World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV's recovery wouldn't have been possible. That's how you get us. That's how you... I am looking, Yoshi-P. Right. Like many of today's MMORPG monoliths, Final Fantasy XIV is barely recognizable compared to how it looked and played at launch. However, even by
launch?
I would assume they're talking about 1.0.
We had 2 rows of system buttons. Yeah.
Oh god. remember the Realm Reborn menu buttons? Like there was literally round buttons for every single thing. There was
Yeah.
I think there were like
Yeah.
there were maybe 2 rows, but they were long rows.
There was a button to sheath and unsheath your weapon.
For what reason?
It was very much a 1.0 remnant.
Yes. They were nice buttons, but yeah. However, even by MMO standards, few games have undergone a transformation as drastic and important as Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 was a critical disaster, prompting an official apology from developer Square Enix and standing in infamy as the rockiest launch in the series' history. After replacing the development team, Rip Tanaka, Square Enix relaunched the game as Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn to commercial and critical acclaim.
Sorry.
What?
Sorry, replacing the development team makes me feel like they cleaned out the entire group and then
Yeah.
they got an entirely new organization.
Yeah.
But we know that's not true.
That's not
we know
true.
at least 2 people that were from 1.0 that are still on the game.
Yeah. Don't remember his name, but the old director. No, he was either the producer or director.
It was the producer, I think.
Yeah.
Tanaka was the director.
He's like.
I will say I was thinking of Koji and Soken.
Koji and Soken is also there, of course. Yeah. This I just think it's funny that like they only punished the producer or director. I don't remember what
The
Tanaka
director.
was. Yeah, the director got like fucked up, but the other one was like, yeah. No, you're fine. You'll be lead in this department. Yeah. All right. So this success has primarily been attributed to one man, director and producer Naoki Yoshida, or Yoshi-P to his fans. But what does it take to craft one of the best MMOs of the moment, with Realm Reborn now in its 8th year, and its eagerly anticipated 4th expansion, Endwalker, coming out in November? We spoke to Naoki Yoshida about the history of the MMORPG genre, changing player attitudes, and his storied relationship with competitors like World of Warcraft. 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
That means 1.0 is 11 years this year. Ugh, goodness me. All right. The past year has seen player numbers boosted as a result of people staying at home during the global pandemic. How do you plan to keep this new generation of fans hooked? Yoshida says...
Pandemic generation.
That's what we're called now.
Yeah. Yes, a huge number of new players started their adventures in Final Fantasy XIV, and we've continued to reach new peaks in terms of our active players. However, in the operations team, we've decided to refrain from any proactive PR campaigns during the pandemic and have intentionally been waiting for the situation to ease. I didn't want our players and supporters to feel as though we're taking advantage of the situation as a business opportunity, while the world faces the danger of the pandemic. We cancelled several campaigns and held back on PR activity and placed full priority on our patch releases. Oh yeah, remember this? This was like he talked about that very early on, that they were not going to do like big pushes during.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Though I will say they did make those commercials, the critically acclaimed MMORPG of Final Fantasy XIV, that it's free up until Heavensward. That campaign happened. And that's like one of their most successful ones. That meme is like everywhere.
I think he was leaning more towards like in-game promotions, where it's like
Okay.
double XP event, which have we read it?
Oh,
Where it's like that you're stuck at home.
Right.
Okay. I understand, because it does seem kind of like
They don't want to pressure people to play.
Yeah. Okay. Despite that, many of our players came together in-game to enjoy Final Fantasy XIV exactly because of its stay-at-home nature. I felt that it brought the relationships we've built with our players over the past 10 years into the spotlight. I want to create opportunities for our newcomers to join in too, and show them not just how fun the game is, but to share the joy of Final Fantasy XIV.
He said 10 years.
I felt that brought the relationship we built with our players over the past 10 years. Well, he's including 1.0, clearly.
Yeah.
Remember,
I
he
know.
worked on that.
I feel like he doesn't acknowledge it very often.
He doesn't. Oh, he's been more open about it in the past few years. I remember a point where he just pretended like it didn't exist. Okay, MMORPGs today look very different to classics like Age of Ultima and EverQuest. Looking at Final Fantasy XIV as well as your competitors, how has the MMO genre had to adapt and innovate to capture changing player interests and attitudes? Yoshida says, I think the only MMORPG that could be considered equal to Ultima Online would probably be Lineage and EVE Online. But in my personal opinion, there hasn't been a role-playing experience that surpassed that of the original Ultima Online. Now, okay. Ultima Online came out in 1997.
Oh, that's a boomer game.
Yes. And it was very funny because we were looking at, when we were prepping yesterday, it was like Ultima Online. Because I think I've even talked about it in Fallen Rise. I think Ultima Online was like brought up as like in Fallen Rise as like one of the like competitors to 11 back in the day.
Yeah.
But I never actually looked at the game. I have never. I don't know what Ultima Online actually looks like until yesterday.
Yeah, biggest competitor to 11.
There hasn't been a role-playing experience that surpassed that of the original Ultima Online. I just want everyone right now who don't know what Ultima Online looks like to just Google Ultima Online and look at one of the pictures. There is a picture, and I will just say this was funny. One of the first pictures I opened was a guy riding a horse in a field. It's an isometric game. Very like Diablo-esque looking almost, very old. And there is a llama just walking along with the name Michelle Olama.
This is what you guys were linking in the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there was like a follow-up to that picture was that llama has now moved places, and then it just says like, I have to poop. And I'm like, okay. There hasn't been a role-playing experience that surpassed that of the original Ultima Online. Where were you when Michelle Olama pooped on Ultima Online? Anyways, these works have a special place within the MMORPG genre, and there's still demand for them even now. But that demand is by no means great enough to support a large-scale MMORPG project because they need a lot of role-play skills to play effectively. If we could prepare a profitable business model, I'd love to take on the challenge of developing such a game.
That does sound intriguing, but that also sounds incredibly challenging.
Also,
that's
let me
a
just
genre that's genre of MMO is something.
Yeah, it is. Let me also just say to the players of Ultima Online, that's fine. I know how it is to play an MMO for a very long time. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
So, Chad is bringing this up. Is Ultima Online the game that Lord British comes from?
Lord British? Is that from Ultima Online? Well, we'll see.
That's what...
Yes?
It
is?
Okay, he is.
Ah, okay.
I don't think you would like this game, Ronno.
Yeah, sorry. Can't be around those Brits.
Okay. I mean, the game is old, but it's still, I mean, Yoshi-P is giving it very high praise here. So even though I was put off by Michelle Olama,
it's not from our time.
It's not from our time.
No, I'm sorry that I was like 6 when it came out. And I could not comprehend it.
EverQuest is another masterpiece of the first generation of MMORPGs. It's an incredible game that combined a subscription-based business model with a time-to-win game design. But it was World of Warcraft that faced EverQuest head-on and provided a new way to play. It wasn't based on time to win, but WoW incorporated an item level system while keeping player skill at its core. Players who invested lots of their time could coexist with players who didn't, encouraging a free style of play. As for the evolving genre, so that's, I mean, that's fair. I don't know much about EverQuest either. These old games, I only know mostly by name and like pictures that I've seen, but yeah.
Are they still releasing expansions for EverQuest, or is that EverQuest 2?
Because
I know one of them is still being supported, but I don't remember which one. I know there was like an EverQuest...
It's 2.
Yeah.
It's 2? Because I'm pretty sure there was an expansion for EverQuest 2 like in the last 2 years.
Yeah, EverQuest 2 is still active.
They had like EverQuest Next or Next, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. um, as for the evolving genre, I believe it's easy for MMORPGs to accept and reflect changes in gamer lifestyles. If you look back about 20 years, were our lives as busy as they are today? There was the internet, but correspondence was limited to email. Real-time communication was limited to PC Messenger clients. Nowadays, you and I have smartphones in the palms of our hands. We have access to entertainment whenever we have a free moment. It goes without saying that there's a dramatic drop in the amount of time players have available after eating, sleeping, working, and spending time with their family and friends. Yeah. The game design of Ultima Online and EverQuest are still shining jewels even today, and I've no doubt there is demand for these titles. It's just that it's now more difficult to make those games succeed as a major business undertaking. As a result, game design needs to change and innovate to ensure it matches more closely with MMORPG gamers. For Final Fantasy XIV, we'd like to remain receptive to changes in the lifestyles of our players, and will continue to adjust the design little by little accordingly. This is like a point that is brought up a lot with when people talk about 14 compared to WoW. It's that 14 seems to like respect your time a bit more, which, you know, older games don't. If you 11 does not give a fuck about your time. You will spend 36 hours hunting, camping that hunt, and you will like it. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's symptomatic of many older games, not just MMORPGs.
Yeah.
I mean, autosaves are a thing now.
Yeah, yeah.
In the old days, on the NES and the SNES, you could die and you would go straight back to the start of the game.
Good lord.
Bring that back.
No.
Like in RPGs, you die in SMT5, like the game just shuts off, start again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, thank you.
Shut up, Rollo.
Final Fantasy XIV, oh no, is 8 years old, and many of your competitors are even older. What gives a good MMORPG such staying power? Battle content, systems, story, and the game's universe must be both engrossing and expertly crafted. But I think the secret to maintaining a game's success is the support of a brilliant community. Developers should provide the player with a sense that they are really living in that world, and that they belong there, helping them feel at home when they log into the game. Of course, this is based on the assumption that the core development team is playing their game privately, like the general player base. If they didn't, they wouldn't be able to understand player feedback, and at some point or the other, they'd end up as enemies from the community's perspective. I'm not going to point any fingers at... There might be a big competitor to 14 where, you know, that last line might hit a little hard. That might be a bit too real for some. Yeah. What?
You know what MMO had all that battle content, systems, and story? Matrix Online. That was...
I've heard that.
It was a really cool MMO. I never got to play it.
Yeah.
My friends always talked about it, but I was a little baby, so I couldn't play it. But like, they had the developers would play like main characters, and you could like talk to them, and they tell you stuff about the story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, put that in 14. I want to walk up to a GM that's playing Xenos, and I'd be like, "What up, Xenos?" And he'd be like, "Hello, LOL."
I don't think they're going to give that power over to a GM.
What a world, Rollo. What a game that would have been.
Well, okay, in a serious note, wouldn't that be kind of cool in 14? Like, I mean,
It's
maybe
a
not
cool
like
idea.
Xenos,
No,
but
just like random like NPCs would be fun to like.
yeah,
talk to.
like
That's
what was that one Champion of Heroes guy with that eye patch?
Oh, Company of Heroes. What is his name? Yeah, I know who you mean. The cheater. Man?
I don't know.
Yeah. I would probably want it to be less important characters, because I feel like that's a lot of power to give to like a GM. So yeah, I mean, that being said, we already have pretty good, like, our GMs are very visible and active for a game our size. I'll say that much. But yeah, it's an interesting idea though. Okay, I just wonder, because 14's lore is so big and difficult to like stay on top of. Can you imagine like a GM having to have like the lore book open and be like, oh god, can I say this? That'd be horrible.
You probably have like a character sheet up. Like,
Yeah.
this is some basic stuff, and then just build off of
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, you've mentioned before that when redesigning Final Fantasy XIV, you looked to World of Warcraft as an example of a successful MMO. What aspects of the World of Warcraft model did you end up bringing to Final Fantasy XIV? If there was no World of Warcraft, which is a game we look to as a great mentor of sorts and respect deeply, Final Fantasy XIV's strong recovery wouldn't have been possible. The original Final Fantasy XIV was a failure of unprecedented proportions. Wow. I mean, it's true, but wow. That's... Woof. And I was entrusted with the duty of salvaging it. When taking the lead to relaunch a failed project, I didn't think you can afford to have the type of game you'd like to create in mind as your motivation, but I was playing World of Warcraft and used that as a form of study. I deployed what I'd learned through the various teams, and together, we used that in development. We really didn't have the luxury of bringing our own likes and dislikes. The main thing was that I wanted the game to be a more story-driven MMORPG. There was a strong influence from Final Fantasy XI behind this, but with this being a Final Fantasy game, a strong story was naturally a must. That decision wasn't due to my personal taste, but because of the title's standing in the Final Fantasy series. Yeah, this is something we brought up before. 14 is like one of the few MMOs out there that really puts emphasis on the story because it's a Final Fantasy game. It's kind of important. So I think for those, I mean, if you play any other MMORPG, I think you'll be quite shocked to see how little story matters in most of those. I mean, it's there, but it's not really something you'd need to worry about.
Yeah, if 14 is your only MMO, you will be shocked by that.
Yeah.
Conversely, if you come from other MMOs, a lot of people are thrown off by the focus on story in Final Fantasy 14.
That's true. It's because it's not the norm, you know? It's in a lot of MMOs, when you accept a quest, the whole quest text is in the quest box when you accept the quest. While in 14, that's just like 2 lines of like, Bleoblob wants you to pick up 3 geese, and then that's that, and then you click it, and then the person tells you the quest. Like, you get the story told to you, and it continues as you do the quest. That's not normal in most MMOs today. So
No. Probably the closest thing is SWTOR.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. How much do you still look to your competitors for inspiration? Do you try to learn from other games inside and outside the MMO space? Or do you try to forge your own path? I'm always keeping an eye on World... sorry. I'm always keeping an eye... I shouldn't read chat while I'm reading the notes. I'm always keeping an eye on World of Warcraft, Diablo, and Overwatch. But that's because I'm a Blizzard fanboy. Everyone over at Blizzard has been really kind to us, and they've invited me to visit their studio on 3 or so occasions now. Wonder if they will do that now that we're like breathing down their necks. They're like, When I went in 2018, the main team joined me in a discussion about the development and operations process. They're also considerate, and I respect them deeply. There was much I learned from them, and I made sure to be completely frank when answering whatever questions they had for me. It really was a joy to learn that there are so many warriors of light in the World of Warcraft team. As you can imagine, I'm not solely focused on World of Warcraft. I also check the basic systems of MMORPGs launching around the world. I even have staff in charge of compiling information about them and reporting that to me. However, Final Fantasy XIV has always carved its own path. We sometimes worry about what direction to take in a few years' time. We have plans, but it goes without saying that the details of what we're considering are all top secret. Yeah, I think it's healthy.
Collab. It's happening.
I think it's healthy to like constantly like look at the other like the competitors and figure out like what makes them tick, because that was the opposite of what they did with 1.0, as we know, because Tanaka kind of he thought he knew what would work. He had done 11, like 11 was his baby. That had worked once before. Let's just do that again in HD, baby.
Yeah, 11-2.
11-2, which is unironically what they wanted it to be. Didn't work because they didn't innovate on anything other than leaves. Other than guild leaves, I guess. But guild leaves was just a system slapped onto a system that didn't work. So, you know, it is what it is. Or it was what it was. Yeah, so there you go. That's World of Warcraft stuff. Final Fantasy XIV has a huge cross-market appeal. Do different audiences across the world... Sorry, also, do you think the 14 devs have invited Blizzard over? Do we know if that's happened?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you think they just declined? They're like,
no, they have a good relationship.
Who would turn down a trip to Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And they made like that chocobo cake, I think, or something for Yoshi-P, something like that. It was some kind of cake, I think. Okay. But they have a really good relationship with each other. People like to throw around rumors like, WoW devs. Oh shit, I'm dying.
Roll's dying on stream. Roll's dying on stream. This is our moment. Oh. Watch Mojo's top 10 most dramatic moments caught on stream.
Started choking on my own spit there. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, people like to kind of say that WoW devs aren't even allowed to play 14. They're such competitors. Like, no, they're like working in industry together. It's more of a camaraderie kind of thing.
Yeah,
I would think.
Yeah.
They definitely like, I don't know. They work in the same field. Come on.
Yeah. It reminds me of when I was younger and thought that like people, like the teenagers that worked at McDonald's and the teenagers that worked at Burger King saw each other as like mortal enemies. And like it's that kind of like mentality that some people would still have about like developers at MMO studios, but they don't care.
No.
They don't have that degree of fierce loyalty.
No.
I'm a Burger King boy. Eat this Whopper. Forget that Big Mac.
Oh, okay. Right. Final Fantasy XIV has huge cross-market appeal. Do different audiences across the world have different expectations from the games they play? Or do they expect different games from developers based in the East or West? It goes without saying that there will be a certain degree of varying cultural preferences due to the different environments in which gamers are brought up. Despite that, through Final Fantasy XIV, I've had the opportunity to directly communicate with players across the globe, and I feel that there is essentially no difference in expectations. Everyone loves games, loves being part of a community, and wants amazing gameplay experiences. Being able to create entertaining titles that bring smiles to the faces of all gamers, including myself, as we play them together, is what drives me. There you go. That's
Yoshi-P answer.
Yeah, it is. He says that, but then he blames us for Reaper.
Blames us. You're saying just blame now.
Why do you think that Western and Eastern MMOs vary so dramatically in their approach and style? There is no doubt about the difference in taste between the West, even between Europe and America, here we go, and in Asia when it comes to graphics and characters. On the other hand, if you were to ask me whether there is such a significant difference in the game design process, my personal viewpoint would be that it isn't so remarkable. Oh, there we go. I'm Japanese. But Final Fantasy XIV has been well received by players across the globe, and we don't develop it based on the tastes of any region in particular. Community retention schemes differ greatly between Japan, China, and South Korea, so it's not even possible to treat East Asia as a single group. I think the right approach is to simply create a game that everyone can enjoy.
Oh my god.
Thank
Korean games and their retention stuff are so insidious. Like, it's... I don't like generalizing, like, entire countries' games, but Korean MMOs just don't...
Yeah, I think Korea...
Oh.
It's very hot in here, chat. My adhesives are melting. Yeah? Go on.
This like the Korean MMO style just really does not work in for most other people outside of Korea. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I'm not gonna say it's better or worse, but every time I play like a Korean, yeah. I'll play a Korean game, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Right.
Why do they all have this
Every-
like aesthetic too? It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
so white.
Every Korean game that I've played, every Korean MMO that I've played, I play the day I play it, and I never touch it
Yep.
again.
No.
Uh,
Yeah, it's interesting to see all of this. This was an interview where Yoshi-P... I mean, there's some Yoshi-P answers in here, but I feel like he
Pretty good.
was pretty, was pretty open in this one. Interesting to once again have that confirmed that he's a big Blizzard fanboy. Yeah. Also, he got some time to shit on 1.0, so that's good. That's good that he got that in
any
there
interview,
as well.
you can do it in an interview. Come on, go right ahead. Deserves it.
Yeah. We really need an interview with Tanaka. Why has no one done it? Like, why
I
is
think
there not
only-
a post 1.0 interview with Tanaka?
A post-mortem with Tanaka.
Yeah.
when you-
Ja. Ja, Rolo.
Ja.
Ja.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. I'd be curious to see how he felt about the current state of the game. Aside from it just being popular, like I want to see how he feel about the actual game.
Yeah.
feel
Maybe
as
he
if
plays
he'll
it
say
secretly.
something. I feel as if that is not true. I feel as if he has not been keeping up with 14 at all.
I don't think he. Yeah. Oh God, that's so strange though.
He
He's
did what to you, Stola?
whether we like it or not, he's like the father of 14. Like Yoshi-P is, you know, I mean, he made it what it is, but it was birthed by Tanaka. Whether we like it or not, it is him. So I don't know. He obviously doesn't want to talk about it. Maybe there's an NDA. Who knows? There might be some stuff preventing him from talking about it.
It'd be kind of a depressing interview anyway, in general, I think.
I mean, yes, but because he's not talked in any interviews, there's so much about 1.0's development that we just don't know. Like, we know stuff that's been told by Koji Fox and from like those people, but they were not the director. Like, there's stuff he knows that we don't know, right? So
He would have had a direct line to the president of Square Enix.
Yes.
In all likelihood,
yeah.
he would have been yelled at many times.
Yeah, oh God, yes.
Just sitting at his desk trying to work on the game, just getting a call from the president. Make it good!
It's
Stuck.
God. The president had to leave because of that. He stepped down.
It's like, what have you done to
Yeah.
the Final Fantasy brand?
Oh my God. Can you imagine the pressure on this poor man?
He's just getting at the computer for like 20 emails.
Yeah.
Be like, please respond. See my recent email.
Oh God. He went from like being like the top guy in like that division, and now then he just fucking fell like a rock. Not even. I don't think he's in. I think we've already done research on this. I don't think
pretty
he's
sure
in
we've
Square Enix anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sad. I think a lot of the stuff that lingered after 1.0 would have been cleared up if he had an interview and talked about it. That's a hint, Tanaka, if you're watching. You are not, but one can dream. Maybe he's here for that chocobo mount. He's just tuning in just now. It's like, yeah, I need to get that mount.
I think he'd be hugely offended by the concept of the black chocobo mount.
True.
The fat black chocobo mount.
He would be offended by a lot in this game. He would hate most of it, actually. Okay, that is the story. That's the article. The interview with Yoshi-P by PcGamesN. Now let's read some MogMail. MogMail is mail sent in by, I almost said Mogs, by you at speakersxiv.com/MogMail. We unfortunately only have like one visual loaded because I rendered the wrong MogMail. So
You rendered old ones?
I rendered old ones. So
Okay.
it was great. A great time. Let's jump into the first MogMail. Here we go. This is from Alison De Laurentiis from Marlborough.
Oh, it's floating. Goodbye.
I cannot figure out why Fandaniel is gathering the primals.
Oh,
the only reason I can think of is that either Xenos will absorb them somehow, or or to power something like the Ultima weapon. I know it sounds crazy because we just fought the weapons, but we did also just fight the primals in the Eden quest line. Fandaniel did ask Xenos if he was ready to control the you-know-what. What do you guys think?
I don't think there is any deeper meaning behind the summoning of the primals other than to use them as tools.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just there's this dreamer thing that they talk about, which
I think
is likely anima.
Yeah, it's likely anima. I think that is more so related to just the captured beast tribemen, like just having their worshipping is useful. The ability to summon the primals is a bonus.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's as simple as that, really. That's it. That's the answer. Thank you, Allison. We'll just move right along. There's no visual for this, I'm afraid. So let's just jump into this. From Rosa Frandilla from Diablos. After watching theories on getting to the moon, I was thinking about Omega and thought of another one, which also has basis on the trailer. With all the dragons and knowing that Midgard's armor came from the Dragon Star, could it be we have a dragon take us to the moon? We know that they can travel through space, so could it be a dragon? What are your thoughts on this? As always, let's enjoy your content, Rosa Frandilla. Thank you. We touched on this when we talked about Silvertier a few episodes ago. It's possible, but I think
how do we breathe?
There's the thing in the logo. Yeah, there's this thing in the logo that looks like a ship or something. I don't know. I find it hard to...
Maybe that's the big enemy ship, and then we chase them on Mini after he wakes up.
But maybe the Enterprise reaches its fated destiny.
It finally becomes a spaceship.
It's turned into the actual Enterprise. It's from Star Trek.
That's
or better yet,
yeah.
It turns into the real life Enterprise.
Yeah,
just the warship in space.
This is like canon now. It's like this is where the Enterprise actually came from.
U.S. Navy 14.
Yeah, I also said that I love that you said real life Enterprise as if it's like it is real. What? Didn't you say real life? Isn't that what they're quoting in chat?
You said the battleship.
Oh, the battleship.
Oh, the battleship Enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's it. I think Dragon is likely, but I think it's more likely that we're going in whatever spaceship is in the logo.
I don't know how we breathe if we're on the Dragon.
Yeah, we tap
the breathing thing doesn't.
Gifts.
It's nothing anymore. We breathe underwater. Blessing. They have some sort of fucked up dragon blessing that lets us breathe.
But only
in
three
space.
of us can.
They'll find a way. Lore is written by the writers, so they can just invent something. Yeah. So, okay. Next is from Noel Kett from Fairy. I'm a bit new to the game, despite my 1,400 hours logged. More so what I mean is that I just started in the last year or so. Hold on.
How many?
I'm new to the game, 1,400 hours logged.
1,400 hours to days. 58 days. That's how much of your year you've used playing 14.
Okay. Started the last year or so. Yeah.
I hope a lot of that is AFK time.
meaning I am not as knowledgeable about how and when things like raid content are added to the game. I think that they are added in the patches, like 5.1 and onward. This leads into the actual point. If 6.1 starts a brand new story, would the raids still be added then? If the story no longer has much to do with the Hydaelyn and Zodiark conflict, would we still be getting content that is seemingly connected to La Habrea, a player on Zodiark's team? Yoshi-P said the story would wrap up in 6.0. Would that include raids? I mean, it probably won't. Just some thoughts I have been thinking lately.
That will be bizarre.
It'll be weird, but I think it's more about La Habrea's backstory and less about like the Zodiark aspect of it. So I think it'll be just fine. I mean, we can't ignore. I mean, just because the storyline is concluded doesn't mean it didn't happen. So you know, we can still talk about it. It's not going to be like this taboo thing to talk about Zodiark after the story is done.
Yeah, and there's still many mysteries relating to the ancient times.
Yes. Yeah.
The 12, of course.
Oh, they get. Oh.
They get an entire raid. And don't forget that. We're going to talk a lot about that for sure.
I am so excited for that. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. Because I don't think the focus is going to be on Zodiark. I mean, it's about La Habrea. The one Ascian that seems to have like one of the most interesting backstories that died so soon in the story.
Before they realize the narrative strength that they could pull from them.
Retroactive writing, you know, they'll fix them.
Yeah.
I can fix them.
I mean, Yoshi-P did tease one time at, I think it was a fan fest or in some sort of Q&A, that we will likely find out what La Habrea's name is at some point.
Yeah.
We'll take a guess what Greek name they're gonna go for. Mars. No, Mars is Roman. Sorry.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Mars is Roman.
Greek.
What? Oh, fuck. Aries. Okay.
Pythagoras. Apollo. There's so many. There's Eris.
Hermes, I would expect more so for Elidibus.
Artemis. There you go. That's a cool name. Okay, we can't sit here and just bring up random Greek names. So thank you, Noel Cat. I think we'll be fine. I think it's just going to be about La Habrea, not so much Zodiark. I mean, Zodiark's going to be part of it because I mean it was his whole Ascian life was dedicated to that. But yeah, all right. So this one, is this worth reading? It's very long, and I don't know.
Have time.
Got time.
Okay, this is from Tresha Solteri from Zalera. Hey speakers, I'm going to put my best Ishikawa cap on and try to see if I can give Xenos a redeeming story arc.
Okay, hit us.
Hear me out.
Here we go.
All right. Xenos started training as soon as he could carry a sword without falling over. His training was extensive even as a child, but into his teenage years and young adulthood, his training became intense and cruel. Forced to train in extreme weather conditions or with sleep deprivation, and even experimented on using various chemical compounds and Garlean technologies. Okay. Xenos knew no love and no kindness. His sole purpose was to prove himself a worthy successor to Garlemald. The one respite afforded to him was a trainer who showed kindness towards Xenos during their training. They were skilled and precise, but fed him when his hands were too swollen and broken to eat with, and picked him up when he fell during their training. Am I reading a fan fiction? Varisos Galvus, upon hearing this, absconded Xenos for his weakness, and enraged, Xenos challenged his mentor to a duel, killing him in the process, and thus solidifying his hatred for all and himself. After having fought the Warrior of Light, however, he saw in us the skill and power, but most of all the kindness of his former mentor. The reason he seeks to fight the Warrior of Light so much is to repent for what he did and to finally loose us to forgive himself. Any thoughts from you guys about what could make Xenos more of an interesting character? Do you think he can be forgiven or even be a sympathetic character? I think all evil characters need a good emotionally sympathetic backstory. They did pretty good with Yotsu and Asahi.
see.
I like your idea a lot, actually. I think that
well,
would be pretty engaging if we build off of that.
Because Xenos has a backstory.
He does,
I
and
have,
Yeah.
and it's not this.
I have not read it.
Yeah.
So you have read it.
I know. Well, that's the one from. Where's it from? The side story.
It's from the Chronicles of Light. It was an additional Chronicles of Light story that was
right.
never
I think
posted
someone
online.
someone either discussed it in spoilers on our Discord or. I have a vague.
He did kill his mentor.
Yeah, he killed his mentor. So. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it's
held his
from that
family
collection.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still kind of want to buy this book.
Mm-hmm. This is like the the problem I often have with this is that because someone had a bad past does not excuse what they've done. You know, what they've done. Like think about what Xenos has done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's fine, though. I mean,
Yeah.
no one's trying to excuse him. And no one has to like him either. But I think understanding how he thinks would, I think, help a lot of the player base actually get what's going on with him.
Because at the moment now, he's just the hunt. For most people, that's not very interesting.
No,
but if he was given explanation for it, it might make a little bit more sense at least.
That's true. I would like to know more about why he's like this, but I don't like because with this game, and it loves its like redemption arcs, and the redemption arcs are often like, oh, he did bad things, but also good things, so now he's good, and that's like, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Just like Naruto.
Yeah. I would be very surprised if there's any point in the story where I will go, oh no, Xenos. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
What if you do? What if one day you're streaming the new expansion and you're like, oh no, Xenos. Yeah. I might be loved.
That would be strange. And I think what Winwolves is saying is like, yeah, not every bad guy needs to be redeemed.
Yeah.
I think
absolutely.
that's just a thing.
I don't think Yotsu was redeemed, but she got a good enough explanation and a satisfying ending. Because she realized that she had done too many horrible things in her life that even she didn't really deserve to be redeemed.
Yeah, Yotsu. Remember when the patch before, I was very worried about what was going to happen.
She was going to become a girl boss. We were so excited.
The redemption arc had started, and I'm like, I don't like where this is going. And they did it well, and I had no problem with how she was, how her story ended. I thought it was satisfying, and it was it felt right.
I liked when she stabbed her parents.
Pretty epic. Pretty cool.
I liked when she says "worm." I think that's fun. Okay.
Yeah. I hope that I just want to know how he thinks. It's going to be jarring when they do like cutscenes with him where he's like, maybe I am a conflicted being, kind of like how they did with Litibus and like in 5.3, where it's like, okay, all of a sudden now he's being like wishy-washy and like when the entire time he's not been like that.
See, that's why I have faith, because Ishikawa was able to turn around a character that even through 5.2, which she didn't write, she only oversaw, I did not really care for. And they made Litibus incredibly sympathetic. Yeah, and they made him incredibly sympathetic in 5.3.
Yeah, that's true.
Still a bad guy. Can't forgive him.
No.
For any of the stuff. I guess he technically was a child.
And his existence was kind of like suffering in itself.
Yeah.
Like it was more like a mercy kill in the end, and that's why Emmett gave us the information to bring him to his end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think also, just as the last person to mention, is Fordola, who has a very interesting arc, I feel. It's like they didn't go like the full redemption arc on her. She's getting it like...
Yes.
She's like, you know, she's around, but she's still Fordola.
People still fucking hate her.
Yeah.
And which is good because they should.
Mm-hmm.
I think any amount of forgiveness she's gonna get would take a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even then, I'd imagine most wouldn't. But
Yeah.
I think they are doing a very good job with her, and I'm hoping that in Walker that they really build on that.
Yeah. Same.
I can understand Fordola a lot more, especially since what she was doing, she thought she was doing what would be good for Alamego.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was very misguided, but it's not like
yeah,
it's not like Yotsu, who
No.
actively knew she was.
She knew she was a traitor.
destroying
like
them.
she was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Yotsu was like she was just literally tortured by life.
Right.
So at the end, she's like, well, fuck it. What does it matter?
It's
like, it makes sense for her to be like that.
Yeah. It's an interesting like character plot. It's like she's that, you know, when a nation is occupied, there's always those people that side with the occupiers, and that's her. That's very, we rarely meet characters that are on that side that then like don't know what to do afterwards. Like, occupation over. What
Especially
do I do
because
now?
For Fordola, that's all she knew.
Yeah. That's why I really like Ferdola's story arc. And I know they're gonna do her good.
I wish it was more satisfyingly concluded in Stormblood.
That's true.
But I like
agree
that they've
with
continued to work on it since then.
They didn't give up. They didn't just put. Remember when they did the side story thing, and we thought, okay, well that's Fordola then. Goodbye, Fordola.
Yeah.
But they brought her back, so that's good.
She's too important.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can fit one more. Good. We're doing a lot of MogMail today. Fenetry Levelieu from Mateus. 5.55 spoilers ahead. That's fine.
Wonder who this
should
is.
be caught up. I may be a tad biased considering the name. Oh, we've all answered it already? Yeah, but let's
address it.
Let's just
because
address
we
it again.
started it.
Yeah, but you do think? But do you think that perhaps Fortunate's disowning of the twins is some sort of way to protect them from something or push them away from it? I've seen several theories that it's an attempt to protect them, either from punishment from Charlian laws or to allow them to do something that may politically have to oppose. That he may politically have to oppose to save face in the forum. Thoughts other than haha bad man? It just seemed so sudden and over nothing, especially after exchanging pleasantries about their mother. I also feel like his wife is probably not the type to sit idly by, and boy, I hope we get to meet her. Interesting.
I don't agree with the last part. I think that she might try and help the twins get into Charlian, but I also think that
she is Charlian.
Based on what, she is Charlian. Based on what we have seen of Fortunate's character, I think he's the kind of person that would look for a wife that is relatively like
submissive.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right.
Oh no.
I don't know if I can get behind that. I don't know if he would do that. I think I think she's more like Charlian, like just like him. Like she's like the law is the law. Like we are. This is. You know, this is how it is. Otherwise, she would have done something already, right? If she was not someone who's to sit idly by, we would have heard more from her, I think. Or
maybe
that is.
Yeah, go on.
Daddy Levier is keeping her away too for reasons, or her at bay as well, or blocking her from the twins.
How?
I don't
know. What happens over there in Snail Land? Who knows?
Has he got it like locked up?
No, I'm sure there's some.
Stop
cool
making
way.
this dark. Jesus, just because she's not there doesn't mean she's like.
Not as like a sinister thing, as like maybe like take my wife's ability to freely travel between nations because I don't want her. She's busy studying, so she should focus, or I don't know, something like that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I
Yeah,
haven't
accepting
given much
letters,
thought
that's
to
something.
Mrs. Levieux, to be
He's
honest.
gaslighting her.
Why do we talk about gaslighting so much?
So you're the one who brought that meme up, Rollo. You were the
I
one who went like,
did.
"Are you
I
gaslighting
did.
me?" And I'm like, "What?
I
do you
didn't think you
mean?"
guys were gonna run with it.
it just never. We can't let it go. Apparently. I definitely think Fortunato is doing disowning. Just to recap what we said last time, I definitely think it's a move on his part to protect them from something.
I mean, also, I can definitely understand it as something he's doing to protect people, because if you've done the Astrologian quest line, there are people within the forum that will seek people out and like make them disappear should they be doing things that are against the interests of Charlian.
Yeah.
I think at worst, Fortunato will turn out to be like misguided kind of thing, or like he's trying to do some kind of right thing his own way, but it's just not working out.
Right. Yeah. Go on.
I think the bigger twist would be if he does turn out to be haha bad man.
Oh, that would.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Turns into a primal. Like, I've been collecting crystals.
I am the primal of the Esmort.
It's just a big
It's a big brain.
Yeah. He gets like
Maybe that's how we'll fight Talia.
Big brain snail. Okay. Well, that's. I feel like that's where we can wrap up for today. That's it for the main show, everyone. Thanks for watching. Remember to follow on Twitter at SpeakersXIV ! Discord in chat if you want to join our Discord server. If you're watching on demand, links in the description. Twitch.tv/SpeakersOfIreland, YouTube.com/SpeakersXIV. Send us MogMail, SpeakersXIV.com/MogMail. If you're watching live, the show will continue in the post show where we'll be answering questions from the Syndicate. Stay safe and eat your greens. We'll be back in a bit if you're watching live. Eat your greens. Don't listen to him. He doesn't like...
Eat veggie, but not bad
Brussels sprouts. Goodbye.
Bye.